Have you ever felt it? That prickle on the back of your neck, the sudden, unshakable feeling that you are not alone, even in an empty room. You turn around, expecting to see someone, something, but there's nothing there, just the same old furniture, the same quiet walls. The silence that follows is heavier than before. You tell yourself it's nothing, just your mind playing tricks. But the feeling lingers, a cold spot in the air that your rational mind can't warm up. This is where true horror lives, not in monsters, but in the suggestion of something unseen. Real lasting fear is a slow burn. It's the sound of a floorboard creaking when you know you're alone, the shadow in the corner of your eye that vanishes when you look. The subtle wrongness of the world, the sense that reality has a crack and something is looking through. The short story, Something Breathes Behind You, understands this perfectly. It doesn't give us a monster, it gives us a presence. It taps into the universal fear of the unseen observer. The story builds dread by dismantling the protagonist's sense of safety and solitude. The most frightening thing isn't what you see, it's what you know is there, just out of sight. The moment you start looking for it, the fear has already found a home inside you. So, what is presence horror? It's a subgenre of psychological horror that rejects the traditional monster. Instead of a creature you can fight or run from, it gives you an entity defined by its absence. Its power comes from invisibility, a disturbance in the pattern of reality. It's the feeling of being watched, the cold draft from a sealed window, the sound of a breath that isn't yours. Presence horror weaponizes your own senses, making you the architect of your own terror. Traditional horror gives you a target for your fear. Presence horror strips that away. There are no rules, no weaknesses. How do you fight a feeling? The enemy isn't physical, it's the corrosion of your sanity. Jump scare horror is a scream, loud and over. Presence horror is a whisper, quiet, persistent, and inescapable. It follows you home, sits with you in the dark. Its power lies in subtlety, the almost seen, the almost heard. Your brain tries to complete the picture, and what it imagines is always worse than anything shown. In Something Breathes Behind You, the something is never defined. Is it a ghost? A psychological break? The story never tells you because not knowing is the point. The moment you give the presence a name, you let the audience off the hook. Presence horror is about cutting that anchor and letting the audience drift into the abyss of their own imagination. The shape of nothing is the scariest shape of all. That's the genius of presence horror. That's the horror of presence. It's the betrayal of your own sanctuary. Let's talk about the sound of breathing. It's intimate, primal, a sound of life and closeness, but in horror, that intimacy becomes a threat. When the breathing isn't yours and you can't see its source, it signals invasion. In Something Breathes Behind You, the sound is the central pillar of terror. It's not a growl or a wail, just breath. Soft, wet, rhythmic. Breathing signals proximity. The entity isn't in the next room, it's right there. The sound creates claustrophobia and panic. Your body reacts before your mind can. The horror is amplified by the familiarity of the sound, twisted by context. You're alone, there should be no other breathing. The sound creates a paradox, a glitch in your perception of reality. Is it real? Am I imagining it? That uncertainty is where fear grows. The story never describes the creature. Our minds invent something far worse. The sound is a blank canvas for our deepest fears. You can close your eyes, but not your ears. Sound invades. The protagonist can run, but the sound follows. It suggests a presence not bound by physical barriers. Each inhalation and exhalation marks the shrinking distance between you and the unknown. It's the sound of your solitude being suffocated. The breath is always just behind you, and you can never quite escape it. That's the terror. Mirrors are strange, familiar, yet fundamentally deceptive. Horror understands their inherent wrongness. In Something Breathes Behind You, the distorted reflection is a direct assault on the protagonist's sense of self. A reflection that lags, or smiles when you don't, or looks at something behind you. This isn't just a ghost in the mirror, it's a fracture in the self. The one person you thought you could trust, your reflection, is now a stranger. This taps into the fear of doppelgangers, of being replaced. The monster isn't just in the house, it might be you. The mirror becomes a tool of gaslighting, making you question your sanity. The story doesn't show a monster, it suggests the monster might be wearing your face. The reflection has agency, it is aware, it is watching. The fear isn't that something will come out of the mirror, it's that you're on the wrong side of it. The broken mirror reflects a broken reality, and a broken sense of who you are. That's the horror of reflections. Light is our shield against the dark. In horror, flickering light is more than faulty wiring. It's a sign of a failing reality. Each time the light dies, you're plunged into blindness and vulnerability. Anything could have moved closer in that brief darkness. The story uses flickering lights to create instability. The protagonist exists in a state of in-between, a visual no man's land. The constant strobing is disorienting, chopping up time and space. Your brain tries to stitch the fragments together, but the gaps are filled with anxiety. What was in the room during that half-second of blackness? Flickering light attacks our sense of continuity. It suggests the very fabric of the world is unstable. When the lights flicker, it's as if the presence itself is disrupting reality. The house is not just haunted, it's sick. The true horror is the moment the light comes back on. You brace for what you might see. Often, nothing has changed, and that's almost worse. The tension builds with each cycle. Then, suddenly, a new shadow appears, or a chair has moved. The unreliable light becomes a tool for a terrifying game. You're the unwilling audience, never knowing what the next frame will reveal. That's the terror of flickering realities. Sound is supposed to be predictable, but what happens when sound breaks its own rules? In Something Breathes Behind You, a delayed echo becomes a sign that reality is folding in on itself. The protagonist makes a sound in the kitchen, a cough, a dropped spoon, and a moment later hears it upstairs. This isn't a simple echo, it's a temporal and spatial impossibility. It shatters your understanding of cause and effect. Did I make that sound, or did the sound make me? The presence is not just watching, it's recording and playing you back. Your existence becomes a soundbite for the entity's twisted games. If you can't trust time and space, what can you trust? The protagonist becomes afraid to make any noise, trapped in a feedback loop of their own existence. The terror isn't a monster, but the understanding that reality's laws have been suspended just for you. The delayed echo is the sound of your timeline being hijacked. It's the whisper from your own future, or past, telling you you're caught in a loop you can never escape. The fears in Something Breathes Behind You mirror our modern anxieties about technology. We live in a world of unseen presences, microphones in our pockets, cameras in our homes, AI assistants listening to every word. We've invited the ghost into the machine, and now the machine is everywhere. The story's themes of being watched, listened to, and mimicked are daily realities in the digital age. The fear of a sound being played back? That's your smart speaker randomly activating. The distorted reflection? That's the uncanny valley of a deepfake video. The sense of an invisible presence is the business model of half the internet. The story feels real because, in a way, it is. We've built a world that's a haunted house on a global scale. The presence could be a rogue AI, flickering lights, playing back sounds, manipulating images. The supernatural becomes technological, the ghost a glitch. We wanted convenience and connection. What we got was a world where we are never truly alone. The true climax of psychological horror is a moment of terrible realization. In presence horror, that realization is always more devastating than any physical danger. In Something Breathes Behind You, the protagonist stops trying to fight or escape, and simply accepts the truth. The breathing isn't coming from behind them, it's been inside them all along. The presence wasn't an intruder, it was a part of them. The external threat becomes internal. The line between self and other dissolves. The fear is not that you are being haunted, but that you are the haunting. The house isn't the monster, you are the monster in your own house. You can't run from yourself. The whisper is always more terrifying than the scream. A scream is a reaction to an external threat. A whisper can come from within. The story guides us to this chilling conclusion, making us doubt everything alongside the protagonist. The presence wasn't attacking, it was emerging. The most unsettling thought lingers. Sometimes, the scariest things aren't what we can't see or hear. They're the things we can't quite sense, but have always been there. Inside us, all along.